I think we're live. We're here. So, to everyone who will tune in now or tune in later, I'm excited to be back for Tell Me Tuesday. My name is Courtney Jones. I am the president and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters in Winston-Salem, serving Forsyth County. And as a reminder, we are, I am talking on my phone trying to share. So let me turn that down. We do Tell Me Tuesday in order to be able to communicate with our community, the folks that are supporters of our organization about the work that we do. Big Brothers Big Sisters in the Winston-Salem area has been around for 48 years, serving children in the Winston-Salem, Forsyth County area. There's been some other areas over the 48 years that we've been able to serve folks, some youth, but we are excited because very rarely do we get to go back and look at matches from some time ago and find out that they are still connected. One of the questions that I get often is like, what is the relationship like between the big and the little after the little ages out? And often I say, or every time I say, most of the time they stay connected. And I have proof of that today because today we are able to sit with two beautiful ladies, as you can see, that I have the privilege of meeting today. So we have Dr. Jill on with us, who is in Iowa, right? Iowa, who was matched 28 years ago with Miss Sherelle, who is also on when Sherelle was 11 or 12-ish. And here we are 28 years later, and they are still connected. So I'm super excited for this conversation today. And with that, I'd like to start with Dr. Jill. Would you share whatever you would like us to know about you, and who you are, what you do, all of that good stuff?
Sure. So first I want to say that Sherelle is also Dr. Sherelle. So make sure that she has the right recognition of her hard work too.
Thank you for that.
I am a family doctor in Iowa. I work at the University of Iowa, and I live here with my husband, and we have 7 children together. And yeah, that's it for now, I think.
And doctor, please don't let me gotta add that in. Dr. Sherelle, what would you like to share with us for now?
Well, I grew up in Winston. I now live in Charlotte. I have 2 amazing daughters, and I'm an optometrist. I've been practicing for 14 years in the greater Charlotte area.
Awesome. Awesome. I love this. Two doctors on. Okay, so I said that you all were matched 28 years ago. So I'd like to start with you, Dr. Sherelle. Tell me about getting enrolled in our program. One of the things that we are super, super diligent about is making sure that child safety and protection is at the top of the list. And for
Mhm.
us, it is a huge deal when a parent trusts their child with us to because they're essentially trusting us to link their child with a complete stranger and trusting us that we found a good person to expose their child to. So tell us about getting into the program in the first place.
So I do remember very, very little about the conversation leading up to joining Big Brothers Big Sisters. My mom said it was something that she wanted to do. My mom was a single mom. I, at the time, was the oldest of 4. Now I have another sibling, so I'm the oldest of 5. And I remember when they called, they asked me a few questions about me and my personality. One thing that stands out in my memory, which may be a little controversial, but one thing that stands out in my memory is they asked me if it mattered if my big was the same race. They said, does it need to be someone
We still
who's
ask the
Black, or
question.
does it matter to you? And I said, I just want you to match me with the best person for me. That's all I care about. And that was it. And then shortly thereafter, I remember getting Jill's information. It was like a little rectangular piece of paper. It had her name and her birth date and that sort of thing. And then I think we talked on the phone and then met her in person.
Awesome, awesome. We still ask that question because it matters, right? We're very transparent. I will say that still today, there's
Hmm.
a significant number of Black and Brown youth who are matched with someone who's not Black and Brown.
Hmm.
So that's still a thing, but it's important. It's important
Hmm.
for the child to feel comfortable, right? And
Yes,
so
that's true.
that's important. Dr. Jill, something in you said 28 years ago, apparently before you even became a mom of 7, that this was something you wanted to do. Tell us your journey into Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Yeah, so I had recently moved to North Carolina from Iowa, and I was in my medical residency there and didn't have any family in the area. And I thought this would be, I can kind of create a family in North Carolina. And so I reached out to Big Brothers Big Sisters and met with them. And I was, I think, mostly interested in working with somebody who was in the mid adolescent years. And yeah, so Sherelle was a great match. I think, Sherelle, were you 13 when we matched?
I think I was a little younger, maybe like 11 or 12
Yeah.
ish. Hmm.
Um, and so then we had a couple of years before she went off to school,
Hmm.
where we both lived in the same place. And then I think for the last 20 some years, we have not lived in the same place, but have maintained our relationship since then.
That's awesome. So, one of the things that you just said that I think is an important part of the process, we ask our volunteers what their preferences are. So that includes things like age and interest and things like that, because our job, it's kind of like, I don't know. I always say the dating game, but it's probably more appropriate to say like roommate matching or something. But
Hmm.
it's really like take this volunteer and then like try to match them up. And when you've got 100+ kids waiting on a mentor, you've got to do the work of like trying to pair and piece together. And we do that with kind of our professional lens of matching. And so that's an important thing. Some volunteers don't have a preference, but it's important when you know, like this is who I think I can connect with. So
Mhm.
thank you for that. Um, so the other thing I wanted to just mention that Sherelle named, Dr. Sherelle named, is I said this in an interview recently. When the big and little come together for the first time, they've never seen each other, right? Like it literally is a profile with some demographic information and some interest and things like that. But the magic happens in that first moment. So I wonder if y'all can take us back to that day, the day that you got to meet in person. Tell me about that day. Either both of you, actually, whoever wants to go first.
Do you want to start?
I'm not sure I remember the very first meeting that we had. I remember a lot
Okay.
of the things that we did, a lot of the things that I learned from Jill. Um, I remember feeling that we were a good match because I was a brainy kid. I love to read. I'm still a brainy adult, but I love to read and I was very studious and that sort of thing. So getting to know her and what she did, I was just very interested and she opened me up to a lot of things that I wouldn't have been exposed to otherwise. Scrapbooking, Jill did bread making and all sorts of things that maybe weren't part of my everyday life that were nice to be exposed to. We did lots of things. We went to the movies and stuff like that, but it wasn't just um you know random meeting up. It was activities that felt purposeful and gave lots of time to connect. So that's what I remember.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm not sure I remember exactly what we did the first time. I remember like several times in kind of the early stages, we went out for ice cream or, went for little walks or things like that. Um, and I would say, I mean, I specifically remember kind of the busyness of her house when I went to pick her up because she had younger siblings.
Mhm.
And so it was an exciting household. And I have fond memories of getting to know her siblings a little bit in those moments too. But also kind of the feeling that it was a little bit of an escape for Sherelle to be able to go out and do something by herself without all of her little siblings in tow too.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
I think that was fun. I would say like we didn't necessarily have a ton of common interests other than kind of sciencey, brainy stuff in the very beginning, and we just, I'm an outdoorsy person, and we kind of joke that Sherelle is an indoorsy person, and so she didn't necessarily want to go on hikes or things like that that I like to do, and so it took us a little bit of, I think, trial and error to figure out where we connected, and I think we had a lot of curiosity and patience, and we just took the time to get to know each other and
mhm.
find those connections. So um, then it really became pretty easy and natural to do things that made us both happy and we enjoyed.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I love a lot of things about this. One of the things that I love, so I have a 27-year-old son,
Mhm.
and he says, what would I have to offer to a kid at this age? Like I don't know enough about life. He's, just finished his master's degree, and kind of figuring out career and all these things. And he's like, I don't really know. And I'm always like, it's your presence, it's your consistency. It's just the fact that you're younger and they can relate. Like it's you being you.
Mhm.
I'm curious, Dr. Jill, was there any apprehension about you being able to show up for Dr. Sherelle, um, at the age that you were coming into her life, where you just said, "I'm just going to figure it out"?
I think I wasn't really on the fence about it, but I wasn't sure what I could really necessarily offer. But I did know that mentorship is really important, and having good mentors. There's a fair amount of research that shows that those positive childhood experiences, like mentorship or having a trusted adult outside of your family. I mean, Sherelle had other trusted adults too in her life, her mother and her grandmother and aunts and uncles and teachers and people like that. But having those connections can be really reinforcing and can help protect us from the adverse childhood experiences that we all have too. And so I knew that there was that we could definitely build on, and I knew that I could support her, and if she needed something, I could guide her and I could be there.
Mhm,
And I think that kind of consistency helped us develop a good trusting relationship that's obviously lasted a long time now.
Mhm.
Um, Dr. Sherelle, what about Dr. Jill in your time together made her somebody that 28 years later, you guys are still connected?
Jill always shows up no matter what it is. No matter what it is. Um, my high school graduation, I remember she wasn't able to stay for very long. She flew in that morning. She was at graduation, and then she had to fly right back out. But there's never a time when I can't call her or text her. I rely on her advice. If I'm on the fence about something, I'm like, wonder what Jill would think. So I run a lot by her. But I remember, you know, Jill and I, you mentioned that you have a 27-year-old. We're 15 years apart. So it's not as if she's, like truly old enough to be like a parent to me, but 15 years, you gain a lot of experience. And it's interesting because my youngest sibling, I'm almost 18 years older than him. So,
Mm,
it's that relationship where it's like I've lived enough to know some things you don't quite know yet, but I'm young enough that I can still relate to you. And also it's different, the parent-child relationship. There are things that my mom might not love my little brother saying, but when he tells it to me, I'm like, okay. So having that person that I could talk to about things that wouldn't view it in the exact same way that someone who maybe, was my mom's age or was in my family, she gives a different perspective. So
mhm,
I thought that was
mhm.
very valuable.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, one of the things that we hear from parents is like, yeah, if my kid didn't listen to me, I just call their big and say, could you have a conversation? And It's a whole different conversation. And most of us parents are okay with that. Like we just need the message to, and you both are parents, so you understand. Like you just want your kid to be in a good space, and have what they need. So one um, a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap up. Um, for one of the questions I get a lot from people in the community is how often do littles become bigs? And so I would imagine, because even if you haven't formally been a big, Dr. Sherelle, um, the value of mentorship, I'm sure, shows up in how you engage with people, even your
Mhm.
younger siblings. Can you
Mhm.
talk about kind of what your life looks like in the pay it forward from a mentorship perspective?
Sure. So I did a residency after optometry school, which was optional, but in that way, I had interns that I precepted, people who are interested in optometry. I do mentor them, give them my experience if they want to shadow or that sort of thing. Like I said, I have a younger brother who is 22. I had to do the math on that one, but he's 22. So I wouldn't necessarily call myself a mentor necessarily to him, but being that far removed in age, there's perspective that I can share with him that, like I said, you kind of gain along the way. I have
Mhm.
my two daughters are both very active in Girl Scouts, and I'm a Girl Scout volunteer. And I'm a volunteer with their school, so chaperoning field trips and things like that. Although you're absolutely right, I did not become a big myself. I transitioned from school to motherhood and all of that. And I always thought, someday, and that someday hasn't come quite yet, but I'm never ruling out that possibility as well.
Understood.
Yeah.
And also you are a mentor
Yeah.
in other
In other
ways,
ways.
right? So
Correct. That's right.
it's not the formal, like that title of big brother, big sister, but
Hmm.
it's the value of having been mentored and kind of paying that forward
Hmm.
that I think speaks volumes. So Dr. Jill, there are people. I kind of talked about my son not knowing what he has to offer. We also get older folks who are just like, are they going to want a grandma type, situation, someone older. Our national office does a national Big Brother Big Sister of the Year, and the national Big Brother and big and little brother of the year, because of their age difference, jokingly called each other Graham brother and Graham big and Graham little, because he was like old enough to kind of be his granddad, and they have an amazing relationship. Um, so people come with different apprehensions for different reasons. What would you say to someone who is on the fence about being a big and kind of maybe not sure if they can offer something? What might help them feel more confident in their ability to show up for a kid?
Yeah, I think life experience in general, Sherelle kind of alluded to that earlier. Like we have faced many similar struggles. I just happened to do them uh, a decade and a half before her in many cases. And so, those life experiences can just be really beneficial. And even at that stage, adopt a grandparent programs are super helpful, and it's it's great both ways, right? I think if somebody's on the fence, as long as they are willing to be curious and open-minded and put in the time and commit, if they're willing to do those things, the rewards of creating a relationship, in our case, it's a sisterhood, are immeasurable. Like
Hmm.
Sherelle is a fixture of my life, and I truly do consider her to be a sister. She's a created sister, and I'm really grateful for that.
I have two more questions and I'm done. So one of them, my first question is to Dr. Jill. I hear so much from bigs that they signed up to impact the life of a child. They did not know the impact that that child would have on them, and what the impact of just being a mentor would have on them. Has Do you have a similar experience in terms of feeling like it didn't things for you that you didn't expect?
Oh, definitely. Like I don't see our relationship as a mentorship relationship at this point. It probably started out that way a little bit, but I definitely feel that it's a bi-directional relationship, and we're, like I said, kind of sisters, friends. We get together pretty often for living
Mhm.
1,000 miles apart. I love being a part of her daughters' lives, and them being in mine. My daughters each have met her daughters, and they love seeing pictures and all of those things too. So, yeah, I think those are all really important parts of my life, and I think I have benefited at least as much as Sherelle from our match.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So this is a question that if I was somebody watching this, I would make an assumption, and I don't want to make one. Dr. Sherelle, does Dr. Jill being a doctor have any influence on you being a
Oh, of
doctor?
course. I mean, so, like I said, I was a brainy kid, but when you have, what is it that they say? Representation matters and accessibility matters. When you see someone in your circle, my mom is also a nurse. I have a lot of nurses in my family. But, knowing that you can do whatever you want to do and having as many voices in your ear telling you can accomplish anything you want to accomplish. Having that sort of support system, especially in close proximity, is
Mhm.
invaluable for sure.
Awesome. I love
Oh,
that.
I just stood up to get this picture that I have on my office bulletin board, which is Sherelle getting her white coat in
My
optometry
God.
school.
I love that. I love that. I love that. People really, when we're in the community, they are moved by the real tangible impact that mentorship has. And to know that we have a Dr. Sherelle because we have a Dr. Jill is amazing. Like I love that. I'm a first generation college student myself, and I would have done college very differently had I had a mentor. And I wasn't your proof. A lot of times people think that mentorship is like a behavioral issue intervention. And often it's just a different voice, right? And that's not to
Mhm.
minimize it. That's to like speak to the fact that you can have a really good kid who just needs exposure, access, like you just said, Dr. Sherelle. I would have known. I I tell this story and it's a joke, but it's the truth. I went to UNC Chapel Hill because when I was in sixth grade, Rick Fox was a athlete, a basketball player, and I was going to go there and meet him and marry him. And nobody told me he wasn't going to be there when I got there. Like that's the only reason why I wanted to go to Carolina, and I stuck with it. Like it was my thing. It worked out that I had several friends who were also going there, but literally, like, I didn't know anything about choosing a major to figure out where to go to school. I had none of that. My school counselor, because I did well in school, they weren't. I think there was assumptions that we just knew these things that we didn't. And so to have that extra voice is amazing. Well, ladies, I'm so thankful to and I feel grateful to be able to be in your virtual presence to actually um, I've been with the agency for 3 years, but in my role as president CEO since May 1st. And I will tell this story now, like everywhere I go, to advocate because this is like real life. I'm looking at two women who have done, are doing amazing things, and mentorship is a part of their story. Big Brothers Big Sisters is a part of their story. So I am humbled. I am honored to be in your virtual space. I hope this isn't the last time that we get to connect. We will come up on 50 years. Now I want to talk to y'all before 50 years, but a couple of years from now we'll celebrate 50 years. And these are the types of stories we want to sit around and talk about
Mhm.
from now until then and even then. So thank you so much. Before we end, I want to give you all the opportunity to say anything else that you would like to share.
I guess I just want to say thanks to Jill for, always being a fixture in my life. Like I said, no matter what, I have been going through. She's literally always there, even though she's in Iowa, and I don't like to fly. So she says we see each other often. It's her traveling because I don't like airplanes. But her taking part in anything that I enjoy. Hosting things to keep all my friend group connected when I have special experiences, or being present in all the big moments in my life, or showing up when I'm not at my best so we could go to Disney with my kids. Just everything. I just appreciate that she's someone that I can count on no matter what, and she gives me advice that I can trust, and just I really appreciate that. I don't think there's anybody else like her, and I'm thankful to have been matched with her.
And I echo that. I'm really thankful for all of that too. As I was reflecting in preparation for this, I thought about all of our past times together and the things that we did when she was younger and lived at home. Then as she got older, it was such a privilege to be part of all of her celebrations, from all of her graduations, getting photos from her white coat ceremony, and being able to kind of just be proud of her in those moments was fantastic. But my more recent memories with her are some of my favorites too. Spending the time with her and her daughters has been really special for me. She's a fantastic mom. And I just love how she's grown into such a strong, intentional, introspective woman. And she's raising two more to be just like her.
Oh, I love that. And I really need to name that we did not do anything special to find these beautiful ladies. Dr. Jill reached out to me and made this happen. So I thank you so much for reaching out and giving us an opportunity to make the connection. One of our teammates, Jenna Holly, I am appreciative to the work that she does. She kind of pulled all of this together. And then I have to give thanks to our board vice chair, Adam Witten, who is not on the camera right now. He is behind the camera, making all of this happen. I say this, and it comes out like I'm saying it like a joke, but I really mean it. That like we were doing a whole janky setup that was just like me and a computer, me and a phone. And I think the last one, my predecessor had an iPad kind of like sitting across the room when they're sitting at a table, and Adam was like, "That's ghetto. We're not going to do that." Like he didn't say that, I said that, but that we can do better, and we're doing better. So we look all fancy and stuff. So many thanks to our vice chair. Thank you, ladies, so much. I cannot wait to continue on this journey with you all. I know I'll be calling you again because donors like to hear these type of stories. So I got your email and your contact information now. Get to you. So thank you to everybody that will tune in, that's tuned in now and that will tune in later. Big shout out to all of our big brothers, big sisters staff, to all of our families, our bigs, our donors, our board members. We cannot fulfill our mission without all of you, our community support. There's a lot going on in our school district right now. And so the support that we receive gives us an opportunity to kind of lock arms with the district and try to support our youth while there's so many things going on from a transition perspective. So many thanks to our community, to just everybody that believes in the mission of Big Brothers Big Sisters. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you.